Hi all. I have built a Power BI dashboard for the animal shelter operation analytics. Here the challenge was operational optimization. It is a city of Long Beach animal care services which faces dynamic challenges in managing animal intakes and outcomes. So our objective was to find out the intake and outcome performance, how the capacity planning has to be done, how and resource has to be allocated. I've nearly worked with 52,000 records that were telling about the intake outcomes and the conditions. Here from the executive summary, first let's move through the dashboards and then we'll be moving through the slides that we have created. So here from the executive summary, we are able to find that nearly 52,000 animals have entered the shelter, out of which 51 animals have left the shelter. 77% of which was alive. These animals were alive when they were leaving the shelter, and 21% were non-live. They would have been died, they would have been missing, or there will be no data about that particular animal. So here we are able to find that the the length of stay for a particular animal of any species is 5 days. This shows that overcrowding is avoided in our shelter. So this shows the stability of our shelter. We are working in a good stable condition. And then we are able to see the total intakes and outcomes per year. We are able to see that both the intake and outcomes are mirroring each other, which means animals that are entering the shelters are moving out of the shelter in the same count, which says that the system is working fine and stabilized. Overcrowding is avoided. And when we are able to see the live release versus non-live release, we will automatically able to find that we have to focus on the wild, because in the wildlife we are only having 29 percentage of live releases. Wildlife only their 29 percentage are released live, whereas 70 percentage are non live releases, which has to be taken care into. Then comes our intake analysis. From the intake analysis, we are able to see that 70 percentage are stray animals that are entering our shelter, and only nearly 9 to 10 percentage are either surrendered by the owner or returned to the shelter. Most of the animals are at risk or ill or have any behavioral changes that has to be taken care, which automatically leads us to strengthen our medical department in order to treat the animals that are entering the shelter. And from the average age at the intake by the animal type, we are able to see most probably they are entering at the age of 2, that is an at young age like a puppy or a kitten, and only for livestock it is like 7.3 years. And from the outcome analysis, we are able to find we have a good percentage of live release, as already discussed, 77 percentage, but we have to focus on the 21 percentage and try to reduce the non live release rate, which will increase the stability of the shelter in the future. And if you are seeing the repeat intake rate, which is less, which is nearly only 1.12, which shows that the shelter is working fine and has a great way in order to either transfer or rescue the animal, or in the process of adoptions also. We are able to see in the outcome type breakdown that most probably the transfer or rescue and adoption or placement takes the bigger role in the way the shelter operates. So we either through the partners or through the adoptions, we are able to move the animals at a faster rate and also into the safer hands. And while we are seeing the adoption based on sex, we are able to find that neutered and spayed are being mostly bought or adopted by the people rather than the animals that are non-neutered or non-spayed. And from the live versus non-live based on age group, we are able to see that the puppy or kitten or the senior, the one that is less than 1 year or the one that is greater than 8 years of age, are having a problem in having a live release out of the shelter. So we have to turn our spotlight towards them. Now let's move to the slides and discuss further about this. As we have already discussed, we are able to see there was a dip in 2020 and 2021, which was during the pandemic situation. There may be a restructuring, or would have been any other conditions due to which there is a drop both in the intake and outcomes of the shelter. But after 2023, we are able to again see that the shelter has stabilized nearly 5.6k annually. And operational balance, here we are, as we have already discussed, both the outcome and the income mirrors each other. The shelter processing capacity is well matched to the incoming demand, so preventing overcrowding even during the peak years. And future projections, as we are able to see, with volume stabilizing in 2024 and 2025, the shelter has an opportunity to shift focus from either doing crisis management. They have to shift their mind in making strategic improvements, like ensuring medical cares and medical departments, and ensuring the care at which the animals enter, because most of the animals that are taken in are stray animals, and also they are at risk or have any behavioral problem. This has to be taken into account. And we can see that rather than the lost pets, lost pets are bigger issue than the unwanted ones. So we have to take care of this is the intake source of our shelter, so we have to focus our resource allocations, especially in the areas that are having more strays. And the intake conditions, they are mostly at risk or at ill, so we have to increase the medical load. We have to have sufficient medical supplies, as well as medical doctors or nurses, in order to take care of the animals when they are taken into the shelter, which reduces the non-live release. Maybe at times when the animals are entering into the shelter at risk, and we are not having any medical supplies or medical supplies or medical people with us, we will have a non-release rate, which will also account to a non-live release rate, so that we will not be able to increase it. So while taking into the shelter, we have to focus especially on the medical load. And here we are able to see by species the live release rate. Dog is having a good rate, and all others are having, like reptile, rabbit, cat, and bird, all are having a good live release rate. This shows that the domestic animals are having a high live release rate. But when we come to the wildlife, here comes the problem. So we have to focus on this by having any collaboration with the people. We will see about the needs at the last. And here come the outcome type analysis. We are able to see that transfer, rescue, and adoption are nearly more than 50%. This is transfer and rescue are due to the critical partnership that we are holding, and adoption is a direct placement that we are having. So length of stay is like 5.5 days, median length of stay. And here we are able to see livestock and seniors are staying for a longer time, because there is a problem in our shelter where we are not able to find any transfer or rescues for particular seniors or livestock, so that we have to move our attention now towards them. And then this is now shows 5 days. Even reducing it to 1 day would have even better space and capacity, substantial capacity annually. So when we are seeing about the age analysis, we are able to see highest live release rate is for youngs, like puppies or kittens or small birds, because they are easily getting adopted. And when we are seeing that seniors having a lower success rate, so we have to focus on seniors and livestock in order to have a high live release success rate. And repeat intake rate, as we have discussed, this is nearly 1.12. This is exceptionally low rate, indicates high quality placement. When animals leave the shelter, they rarely return, proving that adoption, matching, and transfer vetting processes are working efficiently. So the strategies that we have to work on in order to increase the live release rate in order to optimize the operational analysis in the shelter. Here is the first one. It is the goal is to reduce non-live outcomes, especially for the wildlife and other categories. So we have to formalize partnership with the wildlife rehabilitation centers, allocate dedicated veterinary resources for ill or injured intakes, create senior spotlights to move older animals faster. Then comes the second strategy, that is prevention and outrage. With 70% of intake being strays, we have to focus on the strays. So either we have to increase community microchipping events or return to field programs for healthy strays. When they enter, if they are doing fine, we have to make them return to the place they were living. Okay, and we have to create educational campaigns on pet containment and identification. This is the outcomes and the analysis of this animal shelter. This is the outcomes and the analysis of the animal shelter operation analytics that I have done. Thank you for watching through this dashboard, and I would request you to comment about the improvements that I have to do, either dashboard based or analytics based. Thank you.